All right. So yeah, like I said, I'll definitely post them on YouTube so you guys can go back. You know, you can fast forward it, rewind it, whatever. You know, so so like I was saying, right? So this pattern, notice this pattern, right? And I would even screenshot it, whatever. You got anytime before a news release on this particular pair, especially this pair, and you see it break below the triangle, and you got minimum three black candles, and then you got to push back to the upside, either to close inside of the triangle or to close above a triangle. You're going to be only be looking for buys, right? You're only going to be looking for buys. This is a classic pattern. This is a classic bullish reversal pattern. When I say bullish, that means the market is going to go up, right? Bearish means the market's going to drop. So this is a classic pattern, right? So now what I'm gonna do to kind of show you guys that, right, is I'm gonna show you some different trades from my folder for this pair, so you can see exactly like what I'm talking about, right? So let me go here. So and let me share. I don't know if you guys can you see my desktop, or you only see the chart, right?
Only the chart I see.
All right. So let me do a new share, and let me go to the desktop, right? So go to the desktop, hit share. All right, you can see the desktop, right? You guys can see the desktop?
There's charts on the screen. I don't know if that's your desktop, dude.
Yeah, it zoomed in for the more.
Yeah.
All right, so you see, all right, do you guys see these folders?
Yeah,
like,
I see the folder.
Yeah.
All right, because that's why I need you to be able to see it. So, all right, so if you notice, like these folders, right? These are my news folders for each pair. So this is USD JPY. This is the one that we're talking about, GBP AUD news, right? Triangles, and then this is GBP NZD. So the one we're talking about is this one. So I'm gonna open this folder, right? And these are all the news trades recently that have occurred. And like I said, the same pattern occurs with the triangles, right? So I'm gonna just start clicking on them so you guys can kind of see like what I'm talking about. And then you'll get an idea, right? Like of how this thing like basically works. So can you guys see this chart or this picture?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So notice, right? And I probably can blow it up so it's big, it's better. You can see it, right?
Yeah.
All right. So if you notice on this was out, to be honest, I don't even know the date on it. I would have to go back and click on the info to find the date, but this is the same pair, right? GBP AUD. So a triangle form, right? So the news trade is this big green candle again, right? This is a different trade from the one we just looked at, right? So this is not July 4th. This is older than July 4th, right? And you can tell that because the price action was different, but that's why I was saying maybe you guys want to screenshot it or whatever, or I can send it to you by text so you have it. But this is another news trade that came out on this pair, right? And if you notice, the news trade came out, it looks like probably at 9:30, I'm guessing, because you got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Yeah. So this was a 9:30 news release. So the 5 candles before the news came out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it was 5 black candles in a row. If you guys notice that, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whenever that happens, price is gonna you probably got a 95% chance that the news release is gonna be a buy, right? Because what they're doing with this pattern is they're basically inducing sellers into the market, because there's people that actually basically they buy support, they sell resistance, right? They buy support, they sell resistance. However, so resistance in this particular triangle is the top of the triangle, right? Because every time, if you notice, price came here to the top of the triangle, you had a reversal. Price came up here to the top of the triangle, you had a reversal down, right? So you got traders that are looking for a reversal again off of this triangle, right? So how do you suck in sellers to basically start selling the pair and saying that, hey, the market's going to drop? Is you start giving red candles, right? So here you got a red candle here right off the triangle, right? So you're going to get a lot of sellers that are going to go short and basically say, hey, the market's going to drop. They're selling, right? So this last candle, right? And if you notice, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. right? So this last candle is considered an indecision candle. And the reason why it's considered indecision is because if you notice, you got a long wick at the top of the body of the candle, and you got a long wick at after the bottom, right? So the top of the candle has a long wick, the bottom of the candle has a long wick, right? And you got a small little body in the middle. That's considered indecision, meaning that the market is not sure which direction it wants to go in, right? That's what indecision is in the market. So, but however, like I said, there's a 90 to 95% chance with this pair, right? I'm talking about this pair, that when you get this signal, it's going to be a buy. And you notice price is still, it closed inside of the triangle, right? It wasn't outside of the triangle, right? So it literally, it dropped down, but the candle closed, the body of the candle closed inside of the triangle, which means that you're going to be looking for a buy. So how you would take this trade is you would be placing a buy order above the top of this candle, right? So literally above this, and I can't highlight it because it's on the picture, but literally above where my crosshair is, you will be putting a buy order, right? So when the news release comes out, and this particular trade was at 9:30 at night, when the news release comes out, you will only be activated. Your trade will only open if your level is tapped, right? They would have to literally take price to that level, and you can look to the right and you see it. It's right around 1.87500, right? So if your buy order was at 1.87500, that's where your order would be kicked in at. You would only be activated once price goes to that level, right? Which means that it's literally a rocket ship. As soon as you get into the trade, you're pretty much in profit. Right? Because it's like a steroid candle. Look how big the candle is, right? So, and this is a 5-minute chart. So now, in order for you to make money in trading, somebody has to lose money, right? That's how trading works. So every time you take profit, somebody on the other end is losing money, right? So, and I hate to say it, but it's true. You're going to make money off of uninformed traders that don't take the time to study and learn these patterns, right? Like I'm telling you guys these patterns. You got people that they're not even studying, they're not even back testing, they don't know, right? So all I'm doing is trying to help you guys like shorten your learning curve to kind of weed out the stuff that's not going to work. And if the crazy part about it, you got prop trading now. I'm showing you guys what I do, right? And this is how I trade it, right? This is how I trade it. So this works for me. You know what I mean? And I only want to be in the market when I got candles the size of this candle, right? I don't want to be in the market when there's baby candles, because then it's kind of like, okay, like your risk reward, right? Is it really worth it? I want to be in the market when I know the banks are moving the market now. And I'm gonna say this, and it's not really gonna register a lot, because you're not gonna really be able to I guess put this into action until you're trading yourself. You could literally only trade this pair, right? News release, and look for this pattern, and only take a trade on a news release when you see this pattern forming, right? Whether it's 3 or 4 black candles in a row, and then you take a buy, right? Or whatever, you could literally only trade that candle and you would make money. Like, you know what I mean? The problem that happens is that we're human, right? So we want to try to, I'm gonna try to get my bag up, right? So I'm gonna take this trade, plus I'm gonna look for this on this trade, and I'm gonna take this, right? And I'm gonna trade this pair. And the reality is, in trading, you got to keep it simple, because you can easily overtrade. Every time that you take a loss, it's going to hurt your psychology, right? Like, because you're going to say, oh, do I really know what I'm doing? I'm going to doubt myself, right? So every loss does something to you. You got to get to the point where mentally you're numb to the losses, because trading is about probabilities, right? Our job as a trader is to take the highest probability trades, right? So this trade that this setup, you guys think about it. This is already two of the same pattern that I just showed you, right? Like for this setup, this is a buy would be the highest probability trade. You know what I mean? Could they drop it? Absolutely 100%, right? Nothing's 100%. All I want in trading is to be probably 80 to 85% right. Right? I want to be right 8 out of every 10 times, right? Because if I'm right every 8 out of 10 times, or even 7 out of every 10 times, right? Then I'm gonna be profitable. I'm fine. But we want to take the highest probability trades. These are the highest probability trades right here, right? Minimum 3 black candles, and then a green candle right before the news opens, or you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 5 black candles, right? You're gonna put a buy stop above it, and you let the trade play out, right? So that's one example. I'm gonna close that one, and then I'm gonna open up another one, right? And like I said, these are just, to be honest with you guys, I'm just like kind of looking at them and then we'll kind of look, right? So on this particular one, this was another news trade. You had, now this, you can barely see it, but that's a black candle. Like it's an indecision candle, but it's a black candle. So you had 1, 2, 3, and then you had a push above, right? And then you had a shoot, it basically shot straight up. So it's the same pattern, right? The difference is, if I would, now, by the way, this is a 30-minute chart. If I would have went down and screenshotted the 5-minute chart, you would have saw the pattern. And the reason why is because, remember, it takes 6 5-minute candles to make up a 30-minute candle, right? So there's literally 6 candles here and there's 6 candles here that made up these 2 candles, these 2 30-minute candles. So you would have had, trust me, you would have had more than 3. You know what I mean? You would have had more than 3 on a 5-minute chart. So that's one. And like I said, I'm just literally clicking. It doesn't really matter. Look, same pattern. Like I'm telling you, look, 1, 2, 3, right? Now on this trade, what it did is, since this pattern already formed and it shot up above the triangle before the news came out, you're automatically looking for a buy when the news comes out, right? That's what happened here. It gave the pattern, right? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, right? You gotta push above the triangle, which is telling you that they want to take it, to the upside. Right. So you're watching the price action, you're looking for wicks, like kind of like indecision candles. Your buy stop is always going to be above the wick. So for you to be put into this trade, your buy stop, so if this trade came out at 12:30 at night, you're looking at the chart at 12:25, right? That last 5-minute candle, you're looking at the chart. And then on this example, it's a 15-minute candle. So you're looking at the chart on the 15-minute candle. So at 12:15, this candle right here opened, right, before the news candle. And you're looking at how the candle closed. So if it's looking like it's going to close with a wick at the top, you're just putting your buy stop above the wick, and you'll be activated once it pushes up above the wick, right? But it's the same pattern. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Your triangle's drawn because you got a touch here. You got to touch here. So that top is valid. You got to touch here. You got to touch here. So the bottom is valid, right? So that forms your triangle. And remember what I said, it's going to form a triangle every news trade. Every news trade, it's going to give you a triangle, right? On this pair, when it breaks above the triangle, you should be technically looking for buys. When it drops below the triangle and it doesn't give you a pattern like I showed you on the first example, where there's like 3 or 4 candles in a row or 5 or 6 black candles in a row, you're looking for sales, right? So you're gonna see it happens over and over. And I'm literally just clicking on them to see like the patterns, right? So I think this is the first one. I don't know if that's the first one or not. But you got 1, 2, 3, and then you got to push up, right? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, and a push up, right? So here we go again on a 15-minute chart, right? You got 1, 2. 1 touch, 2 touch, 1 touch, 2 touch, right? You got to close right at the top of the triangle, but you have the pattern, so you know that you're looking for a buy, right? You know you're looking for a buy on this candle, like on this news trade. And if you notice, it went from 188, 200 to like 189, about 100. So it was about 900 pips. So in perspective, a $1 lot, you would have made $900, right? 15 minutes. And a $10 lot, you would have made 9,000. Right? A $50 lot, you would have made 45,000. Right? So it just depends. Now, the beauty of prop trading is that you could trade with larger position sizes than you normally would when you're putting up your own money. That's the beauty of prop trading. So I can spend $1,800 as an example, right? And I can get a $400,000 account. I can literally trade a $200 lot on this trade for $1,800, right? As long as I'm funded, I put up $1,800. So on this trade, that will be 180,000, right? Minus the 15%. Now, that will come, but you have to learn the basics first. You got to master the trading psychology first, right? And this is the basics. The basics that I'm talking about is stuff like this. And you guys can see already, this pattern occurs over and over and over, right? You literally can just look for this pattern. Like, you know what I mean? And to be honest, the best advice I can give you is learn one pattern at a time, perfect it, trade that pattern, because that'll get, you know, once you perfect that pattern, you know, you can look at another pattern, right? And perfect that pattern. But on this pair, this is a repetitive thing that occurs. So that's what you would be looking for, right? And I'm just trying to see if there's any others for buys. I think we looked at that one. Yep, that one, we looked at that one. So, all right, now we'd be like, okay, so any other trades? So like that the pattern occurs on GBP NZD, right? So same pattern, right? Same pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 minutes before the news came out, you got a big push to the upside, right to the top of the triangle, right? It's a buy. This trade right here was 2,000 pips. So like a $1 lot, you would have made $2,000. A $10 lot, you would have made $20,000. And this is within 5 minutes. A $50 lot, right? That's $100,000. So some of these trades move clearer than others. Now, what I'll tell you guys is that these patterns that I'm talking about is when you want to trade the news. If you cannot read the market and the market is doing something that doesn't match what I'm telling you or showing you right now, it's probably in consolidation, or it's probably at a level where it's going to be indecision and you probably don't want to be trading it, right? You want to wait for the next trade. And that's just the reality. So I'm going to pause there for a second and see if you guys have questions on this so far. Anybody have questions?
No questions, man. I'm just kind of taking it in. It's an interesting concept, right? Looking for patterns when you actually decide to put in a buy order. But I mean, it's kind of my first take at it, first look at it. I think it's good advice that you gave out. Just kind of learn one thing, get good at that one thing, then venture off into the next thing. Otherwise, you find yourself giving up money instead of making money. So appreciate it.
Yeah, man, no problem, man. And what we'll do, like, because this is like the first webinar for some of you guys, right? Like, this isn't like, we'll definitely, like, we'll get into more stuff, you know, but this is, and I'm telling you guys right now, if I don't teach you anything else, or you don't learn from me anything else, like the stuff that I'm showing you right now, if I would have known this stuff 5 or 6 years ago and like kind of sticking to this, I would have been like, it would be crazy, man. You know what I mean? So, this right here, you can't put a price on this like information. Like, and I'll be honest, I don't know anybody that's teaching this, because I probably would have came across it already within the last like 6 years. You know what I mean? So to be honest, so it's like crazy. So you can really capitalize on this, and as you guys can see, I probably showed you already probably 6 or 7 different charts of news releases that it does the same pattern. You know what I mean? And the market, the reason why it does these patterns is because the banks, they don't manually trade. They don't trade like how me and you trade. We don't sit, you know, obviously you can download, you can trade on your app, right? MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5, and you log into your account that your prop firm gave you, and that's how you place your trades, right? But the banks, they have algorithms where they buy and sell based off of price action and based off of levels and entries and all that stuff, right? So the reason why for us as retail traders, because we're retail traders, right? We want to learn the patterns that the banks actually give, before, right? Before taking a trade, because if you know those patterns, like I said, this is a game of probabilities, right? Any trade is a probability trade, right? Doesn't matter if it's a stock market, doesn't matter if it's right, options, whatever. It's a probability game, right? What's the probability that price is going to rise? What's the probability that price is going to drop, right? If you were doing stock options, right? It would be puts and calls, right? It's the same format. The only difference is that this is basically, we know exactly the time that we need to be in front of the computer. We know, right? So for me, it's always at least 30 minutes before the news trade comes out, because I want to look at the price action that's happening before the news trade comes out. And that's going to tell you a lot, right? Price action before the news comes out, it's going to tell you a lot. So now, if you're like, hey, you know what? Okay, hey, we're looking at buys. You're talking a lot about buys, like, right? So, what about the sales and all that, right? So this is like a sales chart. If you notice, GBP AUD, right? And if you notice, you don't have that price action that I gave you, right? So you don't have the 3 black candles, right? Which and then you have a pushback to the upside, right? You just kind of got consolidation. It's inside of the triangle, all of that stuff, right? So this particular trade right here, based on our rules, is that you would technically be looking for sales below the triangle. So your order, your sell order would be in below the bottom of the triangle. That's that, right? For this, because it didn't give you the 3 black candles in a row. It didn't give you 5 black candles in a row and then a push back up to the upside, right? It didn't give you that. So technically you would be looking for sales. This is a sell news event right here, right? That dropped. So it's like the opposite of the ones we've been looking at, if that makes any sense. You still draw the same trend line. You got 1 touch, you got 2 touch. Up here, you got 1 over here somewhere, and then you got a second touch here. So that makes the trend lines, the triangle valid. So you kind of map in the price, right? So this is kind of like the area that price is traveling within, and you're gonna actually put your order in below the low of the triangle, right? Below the bottom of the triangle. So when news is released, if it drops below, you're activated and you're going to be in profit. If price shoots up, you're going to miss a trade, right? Which is fine. You're not going to catch every trade. Nobody catches every trade. I don't catch every trade, right? Anybody that tells you they do, they probably lying, because it's impossible. Like I said, it's a game of probabilities. Our job is to take the most informed trade that we have, basically research and back testing to actually give us confirmation, right? I got my folders, like I chart this stuff pretty much every week or two that it comes out. So that way I'm more comfortable with taking my trades, because I know, hey, you know what? The last time I did this was the result, right? It was either a buy or it was a sell. And I got to live with that, right? Nobody's going to be 100%. Nobody's trading batting average is 100%. It's impossible, right? You only want to be 70, 75, 80, 85% accurate, right? Because if you do that, 7 out of every 10 trades, you're profitable. 8 out of every 10 trades, you're profitable. That's all you can ask for. You know what I mean? That's all you can ask for. But that's how I basically trade it. So as far as where to pick up information, baby pips, I know I sent that out, Rick, I know I gave it to you guys. I know I gave it to Elliot. I gave it to Craig already. It's a website that has like a breakdown of what Forex is. You guys need to download MetaTrader 5 in the App Store. And basically you can open up a demo account. And where it's going to give you practice money and all that stuff, and you can literally start there. And take practice trades, right? You can go to Forex Factory, you can pull up the news, you can know when the news comes out. But you got to be comfortable, right? With TradingView, you need to be comfortable drawing triangles, right? Like how I'm showing you guys. And to be honest, it's only trial and error. You can't break anything. You just got to start playing around with your chart, open up a TradingView account, spend the $10 or whatever it is to open up an account, and actually start charting out. And if you got to call me or whatever to help you through it, like I can help you walk through it one-on-one or whatever. But you got to start. The most important thing is you got to start. You know what I mean? And then it becomes like second nature, just like everything else we do, right? Everything else that we do, we had to learn it. This is nothing different, but the difference with this, and I'm just being honest with you guys, there is literally no limit financially to this. Like there is no limit. And especially with prop trading. Because with prop trading, remember, you got a lot of prop firms out there. You can have $1 million with one firm. You can have $1 million with another firm. There's people out there that got $4 or $5 million in funding, right? So they're literally going between accounts trading, right? So literally, there is no limit to what you can make in this, but you got to put in the effort to study it. You got to put in the effort to back test it. You got to put in the effort to start learning the patterns. And the patterns that I gave you guys, they're really simple, to be honest. Right? But you just got to be what's going to happen. But you got to be careful that you don't trip your own self up, because a lot of times we trip our own self up by, oh, I thought I saw something right here. Let me take this trade. Right. And 99% of the time it's going to be an L, you know what I mean? Because, maybe you didn't analyze the market right. Maybe you weren't, you got in too early. And the news trades help eliminate that. Right. There's no getting in early. You're literally, like, I literally get in my trades. If the news trade comes out at 10 o'clock at night, I'm literally getting in at 9:59 in like 15 seconds. I'm literally getting in like 20, maybe 30 seconds before the news actually comes out. So I'm in the trade at, right before 10 o'clock. So and what I mean by that is my orders are placed. Right? I'm not in the trade. I literally place my orders for buy stops and sell stops, whichever direction I'm going to go in. And then when the news comes out at 10 o'clock, right? If I'm right on the trade, it's going to activate me probably within like 5 seconds, maybe even 2 or 3 seconds. I'm in the trade. The trade's running, right? That's the ideal trade. But if you stick to this, you're going to help eliminate. But let me show you guys. Let me show you this real quick so you can kind of see. And we'll do it on the next one. On the next webinar, we'll go more into price action so you guys can kind of see like some of this stuff. But what I'll tell you right now is that the higher the time frame, the stronger the conviction, right? So what I mean by that is on a 5-minute chart, it's all about, and this was a news trade today, by the way. This was a news trade. This was a news trade on, I think it was USD news. I think it was USD news today at 8:30 in the morning. And that drop was pretty decent. That drop was, let me measure it real quick, just so you guys kind of know like what it is. So that drop was 1,000 pips in 5 minutes at 8:30 this morning, right? On GBP AUD. So if you wanted to map it out and be like, hey, let me see, if I can see anything, right? Typically what I do is I'll go to the 15-minute chart. Right. And if I don't see it on the 15-minute chart, which you can draw it here, but it's not as clear. You can check the 30-minute chart, right? And kind of see if there's some kind of triangle that formed. And you can see it here, right? So if I go here and then I go up to the top, because I'm looking for some resistance, right? So I'm looking for 2 touches on the triangle. And you can kind of see it here, right? You got touches here, and then you're gonna look for the other side. You're literally just gonna, and this comes with repetition, right? It might seem like foreign right now, but like everything else, it's just repetition, right? Trust me. Like you'll be doing this within a week. Within a week, you'll be able to draw out like this stuff the same way. If you practice it, you'll be doing this within a week, right? You're gonna go here to the bottom. You can kind of look over, right? You got 2 touches on the trend line, so that's valid. You got 2 touches on the top one, so that's valid. Let me erase this. Hold on one second. Right, so you got your triangle there, right? So if you notice, you didn't get, so you had a fake out here, right? So you got 1, 2, 3, right? But the news came out at 8:30 this morning. So these came out earlier in the morning, like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, whatever, right? So you didn't get your normal pattern, because before the news came out, you kind of see the reaction, right? You don't have big candles closing back up above, trying to close up top by the triangles and all that stuff, right? Like at the top of the triangle. This is just basically, you got a drop, then you got a green candle right here, right? Which means that these candles are now invalid. Then you only had you only had 2 drops. So that right there, it's not a reversal like how we would want to see. We want to see minimum 3 black candles, preferably closing outside of the triangle and then coming back in before the news comes out. But if it doesn't do that, you're honestly looking for sales. You're looking for sales, right? Because you got to close here. You got to, this actually penetrated the triangle to the bottom. This penetrated the triangle to the bottom. So your sell stop would be below the bottom of this wick. So you wouldn't be entered in until 1.9. The price level you would be in at when you look to the far right is 1.92853. That's the sell limit that you would have in. You won't be into the trade until it hits that level. When it hits that level, you would have made, just so you guys can kind of see like what I'm saying, right? So you measure it. That drop itself was 780 pips. All the way down to the bottom is about 1,500. So a $1 lot all the way to the bottom would have been $1,500. A $10 lot would have been 15,000, right? But what I'll say is, you guys are gonna learn, depending on the news trade, you're gonna learn the range for the news trade, right? So that news trade that came out, and let me look at it real quick. And I think it was CPI. I think it was CPI news. Can you guys see the Forex Factory?
Yes, it's up.
All right, so 8:30 this morning, yeah, it was CPI. So if you look at it, it even tells you what it is, right? Consumer price index is what it is, CPI. And that just kind of measures overall inflation and all of that stuff, right? So that was the news that triggered that. But if you notice, it didn't give you the pattern. So since it didn't give you the pattern, you're looking for sales, right? You're looking for sales because it didn't give you a pattern. So now if it shoots up and it goes to the upside and you had a sell order in and it never activated, that's life, right? You're not going to catch every trade, but remember, it's a probability game. You want to go with the highest probability setup. In this case, it didn't give us a clear pattern that we look for. So we will be looking for sales. You know what I mean? And you would have been right, because it literally collapsed. You know what I mean? It literally collapsed. So what questions do you guys have? Because we got like 4 minutes on this. And then, like I said, obviously it's recorded, and I know we didn't cover, we took a little bit over an hour, right? Like an hour and a half. But I'll post the videos, but I want to kind of break it up so that way we're like, right, like it's like new to a lot of people. And like I said, some of this, to be honest, is a refresher for some people, but this is how I trade every day. Like, and it's not every day, it's when the news comes out. So to be honest, and I think I was telling one of my friends the other day, like, look, man, like I think I'll be looking at the market again on Monday night. Monday night, there's actually a decent trade for GBP AUD. So if I go in and I filter it, right, like I showed you guys at the beginning, I take off these and I just keep on AUD. And I hit apply filter. And then I blow up, kind of filter down. See, Monday night, 9:30 at night, there's a monetary policy meeting that gets released, right? The notes from that gets released. It's high impact news. When I click on it, the last time it came out was May 15th, right? So if I go to the chart and I go to, sorry, hold on one second. Let me adjust this. If I go to May 15th, I'm gonna show you guys right here what I'm talking about, right? And I'm probably gonna have to go to another. Okay, so I gotta find it. May 10th, May 15th. Yep, and that was at, I think it was 9:30 at night. On May 15th. So it was over here. Yeah. So it was actually here. It was 9 o'clock at night. Or 10, I think it was 10 o'clock at night because it was daylight savings time or whatever. So this was a trade that it gave, right? So the range on the trade itself, I think was like 700 pips, maybe a little bit more. 500 pips. 500 pips on that move. So I might look at that on Monday night and see if it gives me any kind of patterns or whatever. I can't pull it up on a 5-minute chart. It would have showed us a pattern here, but I can't pull it up on a 5-minute chart because when you go back too far, let me try. Let me see. I don't think it will. I don't think it's gonna let me, but I'll try. You can only go back so far on a 5-minute chart. So that's why I can't show you like the actual pattern. You have to go to the higher time frame charts, maybe the 15-minute. And that was May 15th. So maybe it was May 15th at 9:30. So if I go here, May 15th at 9:30. And I go here. 8 o'clock is 20, 21 is 9. All right. So yeah, 9:30. So that was it right here. But I can't show you on a 5-minute chart, so or else I would show you the pattern. But you can see the spike. So any other questions, guys? Because this thing it's gonna cut us off, but I am gonna post it. Hit me up if you have any questions on anything. We'll talk. I think I'm off Saturday. Even if you guys want to do something on a Zoom or pull up a chart, I could do it Saturday. I'm off Saturday. All right.
All
Thanks,
right,
Steve.
man.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it.